Imagine you're an ancient human being living 70,000 years ago, and you've just watched a member of your tribe closing their eyes and losing their breath. The body stays exactly the same, completely identical, but you notice eternally that something has been departed. This might have been the first moment in human history where we had the idea or the thought or the truth of the separation between the human physical body into the eternal soul. This idea will change human history for millennia to come. This idea basically suggests that we are dual beings, separated between the materialistic body and the eternal soul. All throughout recorded history, we can see this idea coming in different ways. This idea is not just a simple philosophical idea. This is an idea that will change how we wage wars, how we build societies, how we build full countries. You can see it in Egyptians building huge pyramids for the soul's afterlife. You can see it in medieval Christians torturing the body in order to purify the soul. You can see it even in modern scientists weighing the dead patients to check what is more heavy, the soul or the body. Then in the late 19th century came a philosopher, German philosopher. His name is Friedrich Nietzsche. And through his book, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he suggested that this whole idea that we've been thinking for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, is completely false. The idea is that the body and the mind are not separated, but are one entity. I am body and soul, says the child in Zarathustra's story. Now you may suggest, this is an obvious idea, even a naive one. But just exactly as the kid watches the king with no clothes on and says, the king is naked, the same thing with this. This idea might be naive for us or might be naive for some people, but this completely shows the incapability of humans to understand themselves fully, the self-deception, so to speak, of human beings on themselves. There were three main waves in human history that tried to change this idea and make it into the idea of the separation between the body and the mind, basically the duality we're talking about. The first one is, of course, religious. The religious one, especially the Christians, claim that the body is a sinful, wrong piece of, so to speak, meat for the soul to come into. And then when the body dies, then the soul can live eternally and have its fun and have its, in heaven and be with God. And if you don't treat the soul right, basically speak to God and worship God, then the soul will not have its fun afterlife. Then came the philosophical one. The philosophical wave claimed that the soul is the much more advanced and interesting part of our body, and the body is just a piece of meat that is carrying around the soul. And then came the scientific one. This is the scientific one. This is the one we're seeing right now, the technological one. The one who claimed that the body is simply old version or a 1980 IBM computer compared to a Pro Mac of 2025. The soul is the much more advanced, interesting version, while the body is just some trash piece of meat. Therefore, they want to take the consciousness and put it into AI programs or to computer programs. That way, the body is much more elevated and much more interesting. If you think about it, and you really come in and look into the idea of those duality, you realize that this idea doesn't even make sense without being a philosophical person. Why? Because every thought, every feeling, every experience, spiritual, mental, whatever it may be, you will feel the physicality in yourself coming from it as well. Let's say right now you're stressed. You will feel your heart pounding like crazy. Let's say right now you're happy. You will feel your body elevated. Let's say you're sad. You will feel that your body is sagging and your heart rate starts to come down. Let's say that you're feeling angry. You will feel how your body starts to get hot and tensioned. Basically, every emotion or every feeling has a body sensation attached to it, and we cannot live one without another. Now, you might say, okay, well, sure, very interesting claim. First of all, how do we change it? Second of all, who gives a fuck? Seems like just philosophical nonsense of an abstractical idea that is fun to think about but has no practicality in actual life. So first of all, let me answer the first question. How do we change it? Well, if you ask Nietzsche, The way to change the duality between the body and the mind is simply giving the body and the mind its full experience. Experience sex, alcohol, drugs, violence, uncomfortability, both in the mind's position, as in looking into the abyss and thinking about cheerful things as family, lovers, etc., and the body one. Experience violence in an extreme, fight with people, go to the extremes of your body capability by training, by fighting, but whatever, and at the same time enjoy the enjoyments that your body has to offer. Enjoy the sun soaking into your skin, walk barefoot on the land, enjoy having sex with your spouse. Do not try to elevate or to ditch one of other sensations by claiming that one of the sensations is less important than the other. This is a very dangerous idea. Now, why is it exactly dangerous? And why exactly am I saying that to you? And why do I think this will be the end of humankind if we will ditch this idea of the duality? If we will exist this idea of duality of the differences? I think the best example you can look nowadays, and I'm sorry if I'm offending some of you who are watching it, is transgenders. Transgenders treat their body like it's Lego parts. They think it's modular parts that they can change and shape according to their mental preferences and according to their mental thoughts. They can take the penis, put it inside of a vagina, take the vagina, turn it into a penis. Everything is modular, everything can be played with and played around. Now, of course, don't get me wrong. I sound homophobic. I am not homophobic at all, and I do not think that transgenders, at least some of them, don't actually have those feelings of alienation between their body. But I do think that they created a theme that doing those things by separating the body and the soul is completely normal. And the body is just a piece of meat that you can play around with, has no meaning and has no actual consciousness. I think that you can look at it, of course, not only for transgender, for me, just the most extreme idea, as a very good friend of mine is a transgender, but I think that you can also look at it everywhere. I mean, come on, look outside. You see a woman with a Botox in her brain, a Botox in her lips. You see women with huge breasts that are made of silicone. Even without surgeries, you look at a person in Instagram, he looks like a fucking model from out of space. You look at him face to face, he looks like a piece of trash in the best case scenario. Everything is changeful because the body for the 21st century man is just a game. It's just a piece of meat that can be played around with and has no actual meaning. When you do that, and Nietzsche says himself, your self itself wants to die and turns away from life. And it is true. I mean, if you look, simply look, don't think, don't overcomplicate it. Look at the simple idea of those transgenders, of those people who are using filters, of those people who are using surgeries. All of those people who are thinking that they can just play with their body like it's modular parts. 99% of them, at least from my experience, I hope that I'm wrong and you will write me that I'm wrong in the comment section below, but 99% of them are depressed. They are either depressed, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I cannot say depressed like it's a nothing, but there are other very sad people, very anxious. They are not happy with life. A lot of them has suicidal thoughts. A lot of them are very violent and toxic to their surroundings. A lot of them forget about what respect is, what love is, what affection is. A lot of them think that sex is just some mere thing that has no relation to reality, and they can have orgies with hundreds, if not tens of people just because it's fun, and why not? Because the body has no meaning. But you can see clearly when you talk to them face to face, usually they're very, very sad people. They are detached from the idea that their body and the soul is one, not separated. So, if to conclude this, I think the best way to conclude this video is to say, experience life to its fullest in all of its aspects. Do not ditch the brain, right? Read books, enjoy philosophy ideas, even enjoy brain rot by watching a shitty television show. Everything is okay. At the same time, don't ditch the body sensation. Love soaking the sun, love walking in grass, enjoy having sex with your spouse, enjoy drinking alcohol, cheers to that, and having drugs and whatever it is, not because it's unhealthy or not because it's rebellious, simply because all of the aspects of life that we can experience is welcomed, physical or mind. Don't try to think that we're a cheap piece of meat. Everything is combined inside of the body. your biggest thoughts are happening simply because of the network of neurons that is happening through you. There is impossibility to create a thought or an idea or an emotion without a body. The neurons, the nervous system, me talking to you right now, me moving my hands, you listening, this is all a part of our body and we cannot teach it. Thank you guys for watching.